Alright, so let's dive into Mighty number 9, and you might be wondering why I put a question mark after the Mighty. It's not, was an accident. Basically, I'm doing a initial review of the game. Now, I know it's not necessarily common practice or a wise thing to judge a game based off the first level, or I actually played the second level. I just didn't include any of the video in this. But I felt like I had to just go ahead and get my thoughts out here on this game, and honestly, I'm pretty disappointed in it. I had been looking forward to Mighty number 9 for a while now. I know it was in Kickstarter, and I never really followed the beta or watched any videos, and was really looking forward to it. It was called the spiritual successor to Mega Man, and I'd have to say that that is not true whatsoever. Now at this point in time, you're already going to see a lot of negative reviews, and after being frustrated with just the first level, I kind of went out and I was like, hey, maybe is it just me? Have I just started really sucking at 2D games? I played Shovel Knight recently and Rogue Legacy, and sure, even with Rogue Legacy, that's a tough game. You're gonna die a good bit in that and struggle through, but it's rewarding. There's like this whole progression to it. And you've got the Castlevania series. I played all these ones, and I get to this, and it was just very frustrating. That's the biggest thing that I'll have to say about this game is even after the first level, I just wasn't having fun. I didn't find any of the mechanics fun. I didn't find like a successful progression. The really disappointing thing to me was after you beat the first boss. In the other Mega Man games, there was always like a very fine tune. There wasn't necessarily linear, but it was like, okay, you're gonna need this one's probably gonna be the easiest. You're gonna use this boss to beat this boss, and this boss to beat this boss, and so you got the powers, and they made sense. And this one, Fire Guy, beat him, get his ability, go into the ice level, and his power is just to me useless. Not very inventive. Basically like this little shell explosion that doesn't go very far, so it's not useful to the level, and you just end up using your blaster. And when I went and read other reviews, that's exactly one of the things that a lot of the reviewers were even having trouble complaints about, is that like you get all these powers, but really we just use the blaster the entire time. And now the game is challenging for two reasons. You've got the platforming, which is not overly difficult, and I was playing early this morning, so you do have to kind of go into it and concentrate and take it slow at first so that you can be fast, because it definitely, like a lot of other Capcom games, it rewards you for speed, but you do have to kind of learn it first. And then the boss battles, very programmed. The first boss has like 3 attacks. You'll see it down the road here in a minute. Has about 3 attacks. You learn those. You just kind of rinse and repeat, which isn't uncommon, but it is still very boring. And when you mix that with, I'm not even watching the cutscenes. The story I could care less about. The graphics are not good. Honestly, it almost looks like this could be on the PS2 or the Wii. Level design, I guess, is okay. It does have kind of like a nice little feel to it as far as that goes. The enemies are par for the course for this type of game, but it just feels like it's going a little too old school. Back in the day, lack of design tools and all that, everything was made, the difficulty was based off of the fact that you really didn't have that many lives and you had to start all over. And that's where kind of this is going. I mean, it doesn't really, the difficulty is just making sure that you're cautious enough and perfect enough to make it through the level with your lives intact. Now you can gain some lives after and build up to a certain point, and just seek for that. But still, it's old school. It's old hat. And when you mix it with everything else, it just feels kind of like a slap in the face. And then there's also an issue where they don't really explain things very well. And what I mean is, there's actually, and this is I actually got this from a review. I didn't see a tutorial of this or anything. It was after I was like, man, I'm really frustrated with this game. What's going on? And then I read that as you're playing, you're actually building up power-ups, and so you can actually heal yourself. And I did that in this boss battle, and that, I guess, made it a quote-unquote a little easier to do. As you can see here, I'm not the best platformer in the world. I get a little ahead of myself sometimes. But I guess the overall thing with this game that just became very disappointing, it just doesn't feel rewarding. I don't want to say that this is necessarily a waste of $20, but it kind of was. I'm glad that I got a little, a friend of mine gave me some gift cards for my birthday recently, and I used that to get this, because I'd be pretty ticked if I spent a full $20 on this, to tell you the truth. It's not worth it. I would save your money, unless you're a die-hard fan of Inafune and his works and want to try this for nostalgia's sake and Mega Man, but this is not the spiritual successor. I'm sorry. There's better 2D games out there. Maybe this formula is past its prime, because it just feels old and doesn't feel like there's anything cool there. The dash is honestly not that great. It doesn't make it fun. And you get it, and you like it, that's fine. There's always going to be a plethora of gamers who disagree and like one thing over another. This is just me, my review, and I'm just saying, unless you are a die-hard 2D game fan and really love stuff like this, then I think you can overlook it. There's better 2D experiences for people that are not just hardcore fans of this type of genre. That's all I have to say on it. Let me know what you think. If you disagree, it's fine. Maybe tell me what I'm doing wrong to better enjoy the game. You guys have a good day, and like and subscribe.